everybody, and
Hey,
welcome to our live stream tonight. We have Bev Morrison with us here tonight. Say hi,
yep.
Bev.
Hey, everybody. Ready to do some astrology. We got some good stuff on tap tonight for sure.
Oh, yes. Yes, we do.
Lots.
Oh, man, we're going to be talking about, well, Bev's bringing us a lot of information tonight in astrology about like the new moon, which is tomorrow on 12/12 portal. Also, Mercury in retrograde. And we're going to talk about the North Node being conjunct with the Eris Point. And wow, that's going to be interesting. We also have Mercury retrograde aligning with the galactic center. We're going to talk about all of this later, but we're going to talk about how, this could play out and what this means and speculate a little bit. But I want to make sure you guys are aware before we get started in this, we are in the middle of the Geminoid. How do you say that, Bev?
I'm
Geminid?
not sure, Linda. You were the first that I heard of it today.
All right, I think it's the Geminid meteor shower. And it has been going on. It's not like it's just started, but the peak of it, I believe, is going to be on the 13th. You can still see it now. So if you're in the northern hemisphere and you know where Orion's belt is, look up towards Orion's belt around 9 o'clock. You don't have to wait till 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning. You can go out at 9 o'clock tonight if your skies are clear in the northern hemisphere and look up towards Orion's belt. You'll see those there's three stars that look like they're lined up in the
Yeah.
northern hemisphere. Look up. And then up and to the left of that is where the Gemini constellation is. And that's where the parallax, I think it's called, is where, if things are running parallel and you look at a train track and where it seems to come together, where it seems to converge, that's the point where they seem to originate from. They're actually coming from the asteroids or an asteroid. But that's the point where it's going to seem like it's coming from is the Gemini constellation. So that's just like northeast, if you're in the northern hemisphere of the United States, north and east of Orion's belt. But you should see them everywhere. And apparently, I don't know if you knew this, but apparently, if you have a meteor shower from comets, like we're used to every year, they come from comets, they
Yeah.
burn out
Yeah.
kind of quick. Well, this year, since it's coming from an asteroid, they last a little longer. They're going to be really long streaks, and it's going to
Nice.
be extremely hyper and active because they're expecting like 150 an hour at a certain
Wow.
point, which is huge. And you might only catch like even 1/3 of that. 50 an hour, like that's a lot. Think about it. It's like, what a minute. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And
Just being able to see them like that. Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah. And if there's light pollution or things like that, or you're near a city and you still might be able to catch some of them because it's supposed to be a pretty active one, as long as there's not too many chemtrails and things blocking the clouds and different things that are going on. So take a peek tonight at around 9 o'clock. We'll try to remind you at the end of the broadcast to go out and check out the skies. So I think, let me say, oh, yes. Also, Bev, I think I'm going to bring this up now. The 40 days. All right. So you guys all know what the 11/11 portal gateway is. And exactly 40 days from that is when the winter solstice is on the 21st.
Yeah.
So we are in that corridor. We are in that gateway, that port. We passed the gateway or came through the portal, or we're in that area, that time in space where you could call it the 11/11 portal gateway, but there's so much more to it. It's like when Venus went into the underworld for
Yeah.
40 days. You think, oh,
Yeah.
40
When she
days in
went
the
into her
cave.
retrograde. Yep.
40
Yep.
days in the desert, 40 days here, 40 days there. Well, we're in the 40-day period right now. So if there is things to purge or give up or things that you want to get, think of Lent being 40 days. It's a 40-day period for you to do self-evaluation, self-realignments, self-adjustments, all that good stuff that we just love doing. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you're ready for the astrology? I'm going to hit the chart, Bev.
But just talking about that too, Linda, always this time of the year, we have the holidays, the end of the year, everybody does their New Year's resolutions and that. So
Yeah.
it's a time of wrapping up. But I tell you what, if you looked at all that's transpired since this time last year, I mean, it's amazing all the things that we've gone through. And I still think there's a lot's going to be coming up and out. And that's a lot of what I'm seeing in the astrology tonight too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think when I started looking at the dates, and I don't know if I want to hit that first or just talk a little more about the new moon, but just as skipping over, I'm just going to highlight these and I'm going to go back and go through the astrology. So this is all happening as of December 12th. We have the 12/12 portal. Mercury stations retrograde. we have the Sagittarius new moon, all three happening on the same day.
Mm.
And the 21st, we have the winter solstice. And at that time, Pluto leaves the degree of the USA's Pluto return on the
Ooh.
21st.
Wow. When is that?
That's on the 21st of December.
Wow.
So we have all this going on now. We have the winter solstice and then Pluto leaving that degree. And then on the 25th, Christmas Day, Mercury is conjunct the galactic center. That's on Christmas Day. And the day after Christmas, Chiron stations direct. It just kind of sit there and think about all that. I mean, when I type this all out, I went, dang, that's a lot of stuff going on at once.
It is a lot of stuff at once. I mean, when they talk about things are aligning and lining up in the stars and all of that, for people that don't really know a lot about astrology, or they're beginners, or they're just starting to get a sense that, certain times of year or cycles, like for example, you may do a lot of writing in the winter, or you might do more meditating in the winter, or, maybe you do building in the spring, or, certain seasons have muses and inspiration. That's energy that's coming in from other systems, other things that we are aligning with as we go through our orbits. So it's no wonder when you start to see that great spiral, that seasonal projects, you might be doing something like this December you did last year, but you might be doing it better and wiser and smarter and all of that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
you
but
come around that whole cycle,
And astrology is something that's just like wheels and clocks of things that bring in that different types of energy at different times. You've heard of your horoscopes and different things. So people that are not familiar with astrology, it's not something that you have to know it all to understand. There's certain influences that come in. I just want to give a quick shout out here to Scotty Boy and Patrice. Thanks for joining us. Everyone else, if you haven't said hi, I want to ask you if you don't mind giving this video a like, because it really does help the algorithms, and that would be appreciated. And share it out with your friends. Thank you very much. All right, Bev, where are we going to start? Where are we going to start with this? There's so much stuff. I mean, the new moon. All right, so wait, the new moon, today's the 11th. The new moon's tomorrow.
Yeah,
right?
6:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've got the chart set for it.
That's an 11.
Yes.
3 and 2 is 5, 6 and 5 is 11. So that's another gateway. Mm-hmm.
Another gateway there. And just looking at the chart, the new moon is always a new beginning. It's a beginning point that goes around until it culminates with the full moon. And right now with the moon and the sun, they're conjunct in Sagittarius. It's a new beginning in that part of your chart. And if you look at where Sagittarius is, as far as your houses and what planets and stuff you got there, this part of your chart comes alive every December. And I know it well because I have 4 or 5 planets in Sagittarius. So yeah, this is always a pretty active time of year for me. But you're dealing with the Sagittarius things. You're dealing with education. You're dealing with long distance travel. It's learning, it's education, can have a little bit of the legal system in it. It's all about Jupiter, which is ruler, expanding things. So it's taking the knowledge and taking it to the next higher level. So you think about, we started the chart there in Aries at the beginning of the astrological year, and we've worked up, we're almost up to the point of the midheaven at the top of the chart. So now as the planets have worked their way around from Aries and gone through their cycles, what have you learned since that time? And being December is, New Year's Eve and all that, people sit back and reflect on this stuff. And they kind of sit down and look and say, okay, what do I want to take forward from here? So the way it lines up with calendars, it's crazy. The calendar year, the Gregorian calendar, the Mayan calendar. And yeah, there's so many things, but they're all woven into each other at one point. They are all connected.
They are, but I have to interject with the Gregorian calendar just because that was created by, what was it, Pope Gregory the 13th or something, I believe it was. And it was created in, I want to say 1582, 1583. You guys Google that and find out, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's somewhere around in that time. And the Gregorian calendar is based on a 1260 vibration. 1260 is 12 months, and it's 60 for 60-minute hour. So the timing has been taken from us and put into a false construct of time. That's why there's always mess ups with uneven months and all of that. But when you look at the Zolkeen and you look at the 260-day spin and how that galactic spin works and how it all comes together, you have it's called the 13-month moon calendar is very accurate because it's 28. It's based on a 1328 frequency, so it's 13 moons or no, not 1328. Maybe it is. But anyway, that's the timing synchronicity of it, is the galactic timing and synchronicity. It's the rest of creation's synchronicity. But we're all over here in Earth, over in our own little bubble where man thinks that they can play God and create time for people in the false matrix construct. So that's what we're in now. That's why everybody's timing is off and circadian rhythms are off, and along with a whole plethora of other reasons why our timing is off. But you said earlier, you just said, look at where it's gone from Aries here, and it's gone through their whole thing. And you said, what have you learned? Well, look at this chart. It's a blank slate, you guys.
Right.
It's a
Everything
blank slate.
is traveled through. So look at, since the faster planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, those are your 5 personal planets. They all move pretty fast. So it's been all the way around on most of those signs. We had that Mars retrograde. That was just a couple months ago. And now Mars is finally moving forward ahead. And the thing I see with this Mars on this chart is it's behind the Sun and Moon. So they're coming up with the new ideas. And even if you don't feel quite ready for it yet, Spirit's going to give you that little push through Mars. Mars is going to say, okay, we do need to take this forward. Then it's going to have the conversation with Mercury that's in retrograde. And I find it interesting with Mercury in retrograde. If you look at January, the beginning of this year, Mercury was almost at the identical. It was like 1 degree apart, and it was getting ready to go into retrograde then. So now Mercury retrograde is covering what it did at the beginning of the year. It's going to go up to, I think it's 22 Capricorn. And it starts at 8 Capricorn, and it's going to back up into 22 of Sagittarius. So it's going to cover some information because, with the Mercury in Capricorn, even though it's retrograde, Mercury still wants to look at what's going to last for the long term. How can we make this feasible? It being an earth sign, how can we make it tangible? How can we put this in place? And Mercury's saying, okay, we're not quite ready with all the, all the particulars and the steps and how this is going to come together. And that's where, even though things are still being put in place, you have to look at Neptune too. And Neptune is making that aspect. I can't quite see on that chart. Neptune is also making an aspect to Pluto and also to Uranus.
Oh.
Something's going on.
The North, your computer. Yeah, there was also a word out to.
It's trying to do an update while I was. This is the first time on my computer, guys, and it's telling me, "Oh, let's restart now." And I'm going, "Wait, let me hit that button." No, so I hit it ahead for an hour.
Yeah, okay. Don't worry if you go anywhere.
Tomorrow.
We know, and if something happens, we know where you are. It's okay. It's Mercury retrograde.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
my train of thought there.
Well, you were talking about Neptune having an aspect with.
Okay, it's got the sextile to Pluto, and it's also sextile in Uranus.
What's this here? The North Node? Isn't this?
That little headphone looking thing. That's the North Node.
Okay, so is that
green line going up? It's sextiling up to Pluto. There at the 28 of Capricorn. See how the green line goes?
Pluto. That's Pluto. I'm sorry. Neptune. That's what you were talking about. I got my symbol.
Neptune.
Sorry, guys. I'm still learning.
That's all right. Hey, I'm still learning. That's the thing about astrology. You can do astrology from the time you're born until the day you leave this world, and you will never learn it all. There is so much to it. So no problem at all, Lynda. But talking about Neptune, we've got some Neptune just came out of retrograde. Neptune is in the third decan, which is the last 10 degrees of Pisces, which is the whole zodiac. So Neptune had been retrograde, and Neptune deals a lot with the spiritual. It's our higher self. It's how we deal with ourselves on a daily ritual with taking care of our energy. And when it was in retrograde, it was kind of giving us that reflective period again, too. And now it's coming forward, and it's going to finish up the end of the chart. So it's giving us a spiritual support. But that Mercury in retrograde up there in Capricorn, who wants all the details now, and we want to know this is going to last forever. We don't have that right now. So right now we're really stepping out into finding out what is that new beginning with that sun and moon. We got Mars behind us saying, okay, let's go for this. You know, because we've been stalled a lot on and off with the retrogrades this year. And one thing I find interesting too is the, I think it's January 2nd, there will be only one planet left in retrograde, and that will be Uranus. So as of the first of the year, everything but Uranus is going to be direct. I think Mercury goes direct on January 2nd. Okay. So that will be the last planet to go out of retrograde, and it'll just be Uranus left there.
Uranus is also, just going to mention, it's a 10-10. You know, that's a creator. That's brand new beginnings. That's powerful. That's like wizard. That's, you know, 10-10 is the numbers for this, because 5 and 5 is 10, and then 9 and 1 is 10. Also, this is a Neptune here in the last decan. You said this is a 69. 69 is a yin yang.
Yin and yang, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
It's, yeah.
Well, you got that north node down there too. And that north node is at 23 of Aries, and 21 of Aries is where Eris was discovered at too. So you've got that north node.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're looking at the north node working with Eris too, and Eris is the female warrior. You know, she's going to make things right, just, and fair. So as you walk your way around the chart and you look at this, okay, you've got the sun and moon up there with Mars pushing, saying, all right, let's do this. Then you follow it to Mercury around, and Mercury says, wait a minute, I'm in retrograde. I'm not real comfortable here. I've got Capricorn, the taskmaster, you know, let's get this done. You've got Pluto then sitting on that last degree of the USA's Pluto return. And it's going to go forward, and it will come out of retrograde, or excuse me, come off that particular degree point on the 21st of January on the solstice too. So we're ready to take it forward. And when Pluto goes into Aquarius, we're dealing with things on a collective level. We're going to learn how to be responsible with all these lessons that we learned through that Pluto return in Capricorn. Now, how do we take it forward on a collective level, which is Aquarius is about, and then the individual inside of the collective too. So that's what we're headed towards. You've got Saturn there at 0 degrees of Pisces, and Saturn saying, okay, we're getting serious now. We're beginning here in Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac. What can we take and what can we do? I'm the timekeeper. I'm watching the time.
Excuse me, have to interject here. I just noticed 147. That's my galactic kin number.
Oh my gosh. You know, I didn't even notice that, Linda.
And the north node is also my birthday. 2 and 3 is 5, and 9 and 1 is 10. 5-10 is May 10th. That's my birthday. And Scotty Boy just said 69 is the year he arrived. Good for you. Same year.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
That's
all
awesome.
Right, you youngsters.
And Patrice had a question about the galactic center. She said, isn't the galactic center at 27 degrees?
Sagittarius. Yes.
Very good. Okay. I want to make sure we caught that.
Yeah.
1582. Your money, Linda. I don't get that, Scotty. You might want to clarify that one. 1582. All right.
Yeah. So on Christmas Day, Mercury is going to be conjunct the galactic center. It's going to be at the 27 degrees. Wow. I think that's amazing to be on what they say is Christmas Day. So. And,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much in here. I hope I'm not skipping around too much, but man,
it's a lot. It's a lot of content, and I know if people aren't familiar with astrology, it can seem like a lot or overwhelming or something like that. But you know, I just wanted to make a point about the galactic center because it's so important for receiving downloads and information from your own soul, from your galactic self, your community, your beings that are in the galactic community that are connected to your highest selves and soul and source. It just goes upline. So when you come into alignment with the galactic center, whether it's conjunct something like your sun or something like that, or when we're doing something like a collective on Christmas Day, that's pretty cool. Yes. And this next year, you think 2023 went fast? Wait till you see 2024, like blink and done. We're going to be in 2025, like a blink of an eye.
I'm looking ahead a little bit at the astrology, Linda, and I'm seeing a lot. And that's something I would like to put together here in the next couple weeks or so and take
Yeah,
a look at
good.
some of the main astrology for the year ahead. I'm just getting ready to sit down with that. I was kind of sloughing for a little bit there. I had other stuff on my plate, but yeah, I'm ready to dig back in and see what we've got coming up for the year.
Yeah. Patrice
Galactic
is
Center.
saying the Galactic Center is
Oh wow, wow.
something like that. Wow. So
You
you're
you
tapped
got
in
it.
then. You're
You
tapped
got
in.
some big job here. Yeah, you do. You're definitely tapped in. Wow, that's beautiful.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay,
I'm
so I was just running I had your thing up there. I'm gonna run a banner too, just in case you guys don't have your chart and you want to treat yourself to a chart reading. Go on over to Bev's website at mysoulsongs.com. Sign up for email updates, and you can treat yourself to a reading. She's very reasonable, and you know how good she is. She's very tapped in.
oh,
So I
thank you,
highly
Lynda.
recommend if you haven't had your chart, you can always get a free chart online, but Bev will send you your chart and do a reading with you. So I think that's fabulous and something that if you haven't had yet and you haven't gotten to know Bev in person yet, might be something you want to consider. Treat yourself for Christmas.
And Mars is pushing me. Mars is saying, "Yep, you're going to get that done." They're in Sag.
Oh yeah, but
So
I love that you're going to do a New Year's thing. So we should talk about
yeah,
maybe coming back sometime after the holidays, after
yeah,
Christmas, maybe before the New Year, maybe shortly after, but we'll see. But sometime before in the beginning, shortly, next few weeks or
yeah,
so.
yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
would like to do it before,
Yeah.
if we can manage it. Let's just see how my workload goes and see what I can tackle. But yeah, definitely within the next couple of weeks at the beginning of the
Wonderful.
year because we got a lot on tap. We
And
definitely do.
if you guys notice, I'm just going to remove the chart for a minute so you can see our backgrounds. Isn't this cool? We decided we are just another, all in all,
Yes.
we're just another. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get any copyright strikes or get any
Yeah.
warnings on my channel, but you get the idea.
We hadn't planned this. It just happened because I got a new phone and I couldn't use my phone to record tonight. I was having difficulty, so I got my new computer out. So yeah, I'm being forced into using new technology and getting on here with my astrology software. I was playing around with it some tonight, getting ready for the
Oh,
show. And yeah, I feel Mars pushing me for
I'm
sure.
so glad you got your laptop working and everything. It's great. It's so much easier than using your phone, I think, when you really get the hang of it. But I will say, I really think that Windows screwed up when they came out with their new stuff because they they make it so much harder. Everybody knows like computers, you have something on your laptop, you want to rename it and you right click it and you go down to rename and you rename it. It's pretty easy, has been for a long time. Well, now Windows is like burying all this stuff under so many different menus. You got to right click and scroll all the way down to get more options to do so. It's like they're trying to make it complicated because they want people frustrated. It's called creating loosh and
Yep.
confusion and creating loosh through confusion. If you don't know what loosh is, it's frustrated, angry, negative, fearful energy that's created by you when you're in that state and they feed off of it.
Yep.
So try to just stay in peace no matter what. Have a joke, have a laugh. If something's frustrating you, take a break and walk away. Don't get angry, don't get upset. That's just my tip for right now. All
It's
right.
hard, especially when you're trying to deal with anybody too, even as far as customer service on the phone or something.
Yes.
You end up getting put on hold and you go through all this stuff. And the other day, I just felt a little ornery and they were talking to me. And the guy said, "Oh, I'm waiting on my system to come up." And he said, "So, what do you have nice planned for the holidays?" And I said, real seriously, I said, "I plan on avoiding my family because I can't stand any of them. How about you?" And this guy goes dead silence, right?
You're
Dead
kidding.
silence.
You were being
Yeah.
sarcastic, right?
Yeah, it was beautiful, but I said it just like I was totally serious. Just wait to see the reaction I could get. That's my Sagittarius moon, I have to say. But yeah, it was just dead silence, and I started laughing. Finally, I was not going to leave the guy squirm any longer. But have some fun while you're sitting there being frustrated. That my
Yeah.
humor is my saving grace for sure.
It's humor, humor, humor. Just
Yes,
make it a joke, make it fun, make it a game. I keep having Microsoft Trend keeps trying to come on and do things, and I'm just like, stop! You have to keep clicking all these notifications.
that's
All
what
right.
I'm doing
Anyway,
here with that. When to restart itself, it's telling me I got an update or something, and I keep hitting that button. So that's all right. We're still doing the show, Mercury retrograde or not.
that's right. And you know what? We haven't had a lot of buffering or issues, and knock on all kinds of whatever we're going to knock on.
Yes.
All right, we'll get back to the astrology. I just had to take a little side break there. I'm going to check out the comments while you're moving on to your next thing.
All right. Now I was kind of just walking through the chart here because you have to look at it. You look at each planet, each sign it's in, and it's having the conversation with the other planets. So when you see those lines going, it's like, okay, there's Mercury. Mercury is talking to Jupiter, right now. It's got that trine to it. So you think about what one represents, and then you think about the house that it's in, what area of life, and you just kind of break it down. It's like they're all having conversations with each other, and depending on, whether you're hard aspect or whether you're like a conjunction or a trine, which is benefic. But if you look at the harder ones, they're hard, but those are your biggest lessons too. So you kind of have to learn to embrace that and go higher. And that's one thing, in Sagittarius season 2, you definitely want to take that fire, because it's a fire sign, take it forward, do it responsibly, but it's there. You can do it. You've got all the support you need right now, even if you don't know, the next steps are exactly how it's going to look. And don't lock yourself into, this is how it has to look, and it's got to be this way. Because when you do that, you so limit your manifestations. You do. Just go into it with, okay, I know this is going to be better, and start dreaming. Dream big, Don't let it limit you because you don't have. Right now, we're really dealing with a lot of just kind of trusting spirit and trusting the creator at this point. Because, with that Neptune being in the last few degrees of Pisces, we've got a lot of support. And it's going to bring up and going to bring out truths. It's going to shatter the last illusions that were left in the things that were still laying underneath the surface there. And we all know what we're talking about.
It feels like a lot of that's already happening. And I guess it just depends where you're getting your news source. And people watching this channel, I know you guys probably already know, I absolutely love Epoch TV, the EPOCH TV. I feel like they do a really good job at journalism, like, with the free press and all of that, like just presenting both sides. And an example would be they tell a story from one side. I guess if you're going to talk two sides, polarity, why not? They'll tell a story from one side, and then they'll tell it from the other side. Not in everything, but in some of the big things, they'll be like, if they get a comment from, say, like one of the Ivy League colleges or something, they'll put an article out from their point of view, or somebody that's, on that end of it. And then they'll put another one out, and they'll make sure that you get all the facts. And then you can do the research yourself if you don't believe what they're reporting. But you can't do that with a lot of news that's on the boob tube. I wanted to ask you, Bev, about something you said earlier about the Pluto leaving the degree of the U.S. return on the winter solstice. Now, wasn't that the Pluto return to the United States was when the last time this happened? This is when we had 1776 and had the whole the United States.
That's where Pluto was at in the chart when the Declaration of Independence was signed.
All right, now this was the third time, right? And now it's leaving. It's gone. It's not going to be here again for quite a while. It's not going to
be back there. Actually, we won't see Pluto there again in our lifetime. Pluto's a 280-year orbit around. So for that to hit like that, that's why it's been so tough. And then we had it retrograde back. It's gone over it, I think, 3 times total.
Yeah.
So dragging that stuff back up, and now it's making that final pass. So
which means on the solstice, when we get through this gateway after the 40 days from the 11/11 to the winter solstice, and Pluto is leaving, that's Capricorn. Really, really good news, because that means there's good stuff coming. There's change coming. It's revolutionary change. And
in Aquarius, we the people.
Yes. Moving into the age of Aquarius, the golden age. There's a picture. I wish I could have thought in advance to get it and show it. But it shows the period from 2012, and it's from the Zolkeen. It's from Jose Arguelles. I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but it shows the period from 2012 through 2024, like up till 2024, is the transitional period. Which is interesting, because everybody thought the end of the world, 2012, the Mayan calendar is like, that was totally misinterpreted. That was disinformation. It was the end of a certain cycle, but there was a little rod in the whole scheme of things for 26,000 year cycle. There was a little bar in the middle before we get to the golden age. Excuse me. And that was the transitional period that we have. Yeah. We're right at the end of that. So we're coming up on 2024. And if it's at the end of 2024, 2024 is going to go by so fast. It's the end of the cleanup. So what you're seeing on the surface level may not be everything we want to see right away in one day. It can't happen in one day. Oh my God, it can't happen in one day. But that's
No, but
really, really
those of
good.
us who are getting a little impatient, this is where we have to have patience here too. Spirit's got this.
Yeah.
You just have to trust and put that foot forward. It brings up a lot of fears too. That's another thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
It can bring up a lot of your fears and Neptune and Pisces too. That can be escapism, whether it be addictions, whether it be food, whether it be whatever it is. Everybody's got someplace they go, and that's where you start learning to take it higher. Everything you try to do, look at it where it's coming, from the level that you're at, and use the higher expression. Because especially right now in Sagittarius season, I don't want to give Sagittarius a bad rap because I love the sign personally. I've got a
Me too.
stellium
I
in
have a
there.
daughter who's a Sag.
Okay, and I love Sag people. But the bad thing about that, on the lower expression of Sags, there can be a little self-righteousness. I'm always right. Not wanting to give or take an inch, exaggerating a little bit. I know I have none of those qualities. I'm sorry. I tried to say it with a straight face, but yeah, it's the lower expressions because with that fire energy, you can spout off and not think about what you said. Now's the time to stay in your own lane. It's the holidays, number one, without even looking at the astrology. When you're dealing with difficult people and people you really have to see and only do once or twice a year. It's just during that time, just think before you speak because there's a lot of fire going on, and with that North Node being at the Eris Point, I can see a lot of things coming up that we're going to have to just take it higher, sit back and let it be. That's a lot of what right now is about, and man, that's hard to do.
You know what? I think it comes down to that using a mantra like I am peace, right? That works.
Yes.
But the other mantra that
Yes.
works even better than that, well, maybe not even better, equally so, would be I don't have to be right. If you being right is going to change something, great. But do you want somebody forcing their whatever on you? You don't
Right.
have to be right. That's the beauty of all of this is truly learning how to become the observer. If what you say, if what you want to say can add value, then yes, by all means, say it, especially if you know what you're talking about. It doesn't mean stifle your truth. It doesn't mean just because you know something, you have to speak it. You start to get that wisdom of knowing, like I have this on my website. I put it in my books. I love the saying is knowledge is knowing what to say, but wisdom is knowing whether or not to say it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And if you say it, because some hard conversations are probably going to come up too with Chiron being in retrograde till the 26th. We've got those old wounds and we've done so much healing because Chiron's been in Aries for a while now, and it's had I think 2 retrogrades now. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to go back and look. But in Aries, that's all our self-identity. It's how we first see the world, our first experience. So it's been making people do a lot of self-reflection and some deep self-reflection if you wanted to dive in and do the work, which I know, most of us on this channel have been doing the work for a while now. Yeah. Even if you're just starting, just know the work pays off. The lessons may be tough and you may just look up some days and go, seriously, I do that a lot. But yeah, you're putting the work in, and this healed Chiron is going to take things forward too. So this is a whole new experience. Don't base things on the past. We take past things like, okay, somebody lied to me before, somebody betrayed me before, so now I'm just not even giving them a chance, whatever. Use your intuition and you will know the right thing to do. Follow your heart, but also listen and don't judge it automatically. Don't have that knee-jerk reaction because there's a lot of new that I can see coming through. I mean, just in even all the planets being direct by the second of the year, except for one.
Yeah. I used the example last night. I did a galactic live stream. Bev and I had a Mercury retrograde miscommunication thing. She was busy and it didn't happen, but I did a short little video last night. First live stream I've done in a while by myself. It was just a quick galactic update about our systems upgrades and things like that I wanted to get out there. And I was talking about at one point, your experiences can be the same as somebody else's, but your perceptions are all different. So Bev, you could have asparagus and I could have asparagus and we could sit at the same table with the same plate, with the same fork and eat the same asparagus, like from the same pot, cooked in the same container or whatever. I don't know how to cook it because I never will. And you love it and I hate it. Okay. That's the same. Take that analogy and use that with everything in life. Use that with every person that you find challenging. Just because their truth doesn't align with your truth and your memories, it doesn't make them wrong. So
Yes.
we have to get out of this being right and being wrong. You know what your truth is, and when you know that, nothing can change that. Nobody else's opinion or perceptions can change your knowledge of your truth within. So becoming a good listener also helps too, not just observing, but listening, truly listening for people. Because sometimes when people just need to vent something out, maybe it's something with an old filter and they're regurgitating something out that they heard, and you don't have to give a reaction, but it creates that echo chamber where they can hear it back before you have
Yeah.
to put your input and correct them or whatever. It gives them that echo chamber to hear what they just said. And, you can always ask the question, did you want my input on this? Or is that how you really feel? Like there's ways that you can
Yeah.
be the observer and be a really good listener for people, because sometimes they're so stuck in what they believe that they will not hear or listen to anybody else. And most of the time it's better to just kind of let them be, just leave them.
I'm
Leave them
laughing.
be.
The nail in the head, Lynda. That just brought that up.
Okay, so that's in Ascension Maps. There's a video I put in there from YouTube that somebody had sent to me, and it's
That
about
was hilarious.
it's
I think
about the
about that every
nail.
time.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that one here. I'm gonna put that banner up for you guys, and go over there and check that out. ascensionmats.com. Wait, that's the wrong one. This is the one there. Okay, yeah, it's a free resource. And you know what, Bev? It's been out for I think it started January and ended in April for the podcasts, and then it came through with the website, then the books, and then all of that last year through May. And there's only 100 people that got through all of the podcasts. 100, which is it's not bad. I mean, that's great.
No, that's not bad at all.
But considering 500 and then 400 and then 300 people in the first couple of podcasts, you go back, if you go on Rumble and look at the episodes, you can see how many people have seen it. And I was thinking to myself, okay, they start listening and then they fall off. Well, not everybody can get through the whole thing, but at the end, there's a place for you to leave your feedback. And nobody's filled that out yet. Not one person has left a comment at the end that they've finished the program.
Wow.
And that's okay, because the information is going to be there. It's still there. It's one of those things you go at your own pace, but I didn't really think it would take a year for anybody to finish. And I'm curious to see who the first one is that gets through the whole thing. But towards the end is the nail. It's not about the nail, it's called. And it's like a 1-minute video on there, and it explains it so well, because we feel her point of view and we feel his point of view so much.
Yeah, you can see the other, and the whole thing about it though, Lynda, too, is everybody's right where they're at. And it's nothing to do with how you did the program or anything. They're just not ready. And it takes time to work through some of this stuff. There for a while, I was thinking, man, am I just a slow learner or what? Because there were things at the beginning of this journey that, I mean, it was like totally Greek to me. So, there's so much to learn. There's so many venues and so many ways that we can speak our truth and speak our soul songs, and we find that as we go. And I think that's a lot of what this chart is saying. We've got that North Node there. It's time to bring things forward and create what it is that we really know this world can be like, whether it's here or there. And I'm not gonna, it just depends,
Well, like we were talking recently about it. Well, actually, let's get into this at the end.
Okay.
And some of the stuff at the end, because I want to talk about that extinction level event things and fear mongering, and then ascension and stuff like that. I want to cover just a couple of these things at the end, if you don't mind, because
that's no problem at all, Lynda. Actually, I'm just about done.
Okay.
The other thing I was going to mention is now the North Node. What I said, it's conjunct the Eris Point. It's within 2 degrees for a couple, but actually it's exactly conjunct at the 21 degrees from December 27th to January 10th.
Wait.
December 27th. So right before the new year, the North Node is going to be conjunct Eris, and it will stay there till about January 10th. look at all these things falling into place. I mean, it's just like
Oh,
boom,
so
boom,
you see
boom.
that as a good thing. I was gonna,
Yes,
when you first said it, I was trying to interpret that, and um, it felt like something or more wounds were gonna be coming up, and it might not start righting itself till mid-January. You feel like it's gonna be a good thing?
I feel like it's going to be a good thing because I believe it's about the feminine aspect of ourselves finally wanting justice, and it's being able to speak out because once we have that North Node conjunct, it's about destiny. There's going to be some powerful stuff happen. There really is, and it's all about destiny. I mean, just looking at it in the astrology, we know it can't continue the way it is, and we just keep watching as the different cycles wrap up and more. That's why I'm really looking forward to digging into this year ahead
Yeah.
and just seeing what else we got there.
Oh, I can't wait, and that's gonna be a fun one. I wanna say hi to Amy and anyone else joining us. Space-Time Creator, hello, Andrew, how are you? He said
Hey, everybody.
triangulations resetting and clocking is set to 10,000 frames per line of square root to polarities of pi is now centralizing back into balance. And he's saying hello to everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. You know, Andrew, I know when I was bilocated, I know. I'm just saying. Thank you. You know what I'm talking about. All right. Anyway, you guys, if you don't know much about astrology, you don't have to. It might not be your thing. It's okay. But if you want to learn or anything like that, I highly suggest that you get in touch with Bev, because Bev will be more than happy to do a reading for you or to guide you to the right resources where you can do more learning. And also, if you want to learn about the Zolkeen and natural time, go to lawoftime.org. I don't have a banner for that one, but lawoftime.org. That's where you can learn about your galactic kin number. You can find out about things that maybe you didn't know. And it is so comprehensive, just like astrology is so comprehensive. It's just take little bites out of it. Maybe spend like 5 minutes just reading a little bit about it, or pick one little thing, like if you're going to learn about the 13 tones, then just pick like one every day for 13 days. You'll learn it fast. That's how they say, if you want to learn tarot, take one card and study it for a whole week. Meditate with it, feel it. So if you really want to learn it, but you might not want to learn it, might not be your thing, it's okay. Spirit will tell you where you need to be when you need to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah. And it's really, you get down to it, it's all about the energies because each planet, each sign has a lower and higher expression.
Yes.
So if you're kind of bogged down by listening to somebody talk or something, they're talking all about just the planets and that, listen to the energy that they're talking about. This possibility, this could be an expression. And that's where I started from when I started learning. That helped a lot. Again, Molly McCord really helped me with that. She does the intuitive astrology and yeah, she's been very helpful in my journey.
And you introduced me to her too. She is a great resource. She does intuitive astrology, and she taps into her soul and just gives really, really great weekly reports. She has a podcast she does twice a week, like Mondays and Wednesdays, and she offers all kinds of courses and classes, free stuff on YouTube. So if you haven't checked her out yet, please do. She is like Bev's been saying and talking about her. She's phenomenal. And you can just put her podcast on and put your phone down. You don't have to watch the video. It's not a video. It's more of a podcast. So it's just, you're kind of learning by osmosis. So even if you don't know everything she's saying, she'll explain it in a way that really makes a lot of sense.
It just clicks for me,
Mm-hmm. And when you were talking about like fears coming up, okay,
Yes.
We've got Chiron. All right, you got to help me out with this part. Let me see. I'm gonna try to go back to the notes.
Chiron's not on that chart. That's why.
No, but Chiron stationing direct on the
December
26th, you
26th.
said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so after Christmas time, we have things starting to go back into motion, but this is really starting after we get through the winter solstice. Once we start aligning up in the winter solstice and things start going back, things start going back into the right way. You said only one planet's going to be not direct
after
in January?
January 2nd, the only planet left in retrograde is Uranus.
See,
everything else is going to be direct. Everything.
So, all right, you guys, if your fears between now and the beginning of January, when you start having fear things come up, there's still propaganda. There's still, the information, fight is going on and all of that. And it's like a battle for all of the, okay. So all of that aside, when you get bombarded with signals that are trying to tell you to be fearful, let's take Netflix, for example. Okay. So there's a movie Bev was telling me about on there, and they were talking about a blackout, and it was just released, I think, within the last week or so. And I think Julia
Yeah.
Roberts and Kevin Bacon are in it. And, like one of those end of the world kind of things, but it's like grid goes down, blah, blah, blah. Like we like watching these movies, I guess, and they're fun to watch and everything. But this narrative has been put out to us. And if we do have a blackout, we know Space Force has got our backs. Okay. Don't worry about it. And when you watch movies like this, it'll drum up fears because it is a narrative that wants to be superimposed onto you to create more illusion. It's trying to keep you in that fear state. It's trying to push you down and keep you down. So just think about things like that. Whenever there's fear coming up, there's stuff coming out of your basement, there's stuff you're clearing. Just think about that kind of narrative being overlaid on you, and then get into your soul and find that knowing that all these millions of star beings and angelics and whatever name you want to put on, all of these great beings are down here in body at the same time on this planet to help it ascend, so that we don't have to go through these extinction level events. We've got star systems and technologies that are overlaying the grid and replacing the old matrix grid and enhancing the codes with Christ light, crystalline structures, helping Mother Gaia. Like we're all working on this together so that every human possible that has a soul can make it. Soul beings. I'm not talking about like clones or bots or any of these other things. I'm not talking about technoids or hybrids or any of that. I'm talking about beings with a soul. Okay. When they ascend and they're taking everybody with them, it's the whole planet. It's all of humanity. So we want to do it in a way that brings as many people as possible, as easy as possible. That's the plan. I mean, there's a lot more to it, obviously, but the plan is not to have people living like in the dark ages, because after the golden age, it goes back into the dark ages, doesn't it? Or the iron age, or one of those dark ages, iron age. I forget the cycle.
Not sure.
But because it's 2,000 years in the golden age, so I'm going to be well on my way after that somewhere else.
Yeah, I plan on being somewhere else. Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah, I'll take a pass.
A hard pass on that. Yeah. So just remember that. Yes, there's going to be some things that are going to look a little terrible here, a little terrible there. But every time you see something that is being lifted, the dirt's being cleaned, the swamp is getting drained, or whatever phrase you want to put to it, the corruption is being exposed so it can be handled and ended. Yeah. Because that is not the earth that we're creating. We're cleaning that up so we can step in as galactic citizens, ascending into that. And what I said earlier to Bev, I think I said this to you. Yeah. If you're going to die, right? And somebody could see your light body, your spirit leaving your body, your physical body, and they could see that. That's all fine and dandy. That's great. But why can't the whole world transform at once? I mean, this is the vision that everybody's trying to hold. So just because you're told death and taxes are certainty, you're not getting out of this alive. And no, maybe not. But maybe we can all go together. I've been saying this since the late 90s. Wouldn't it be great if everybody could just go together? Because then we wouldn't be dying. We would just be transforming. Because you could just 1 second later, everybody, boom, there, white light flash, you're in the next place. Like, how cool would that be? So we got to hold that vision and know in our heart, like there might be a bit of a resonance. You might be thinking realistically, logically, well, that's your left brain. Get out of your left brain. Get your yin yang together.
Yeah. We need to be out of that right now. Spirit is definitely in charge here. Yes. It's in the chart. Yeah.
And it's in the charts, and it's in the astrology.
And the galactic center, Mercury. Actually, that's one thing I missed here, Lynda, is Mercury is going to be conjunct that galactic center on December 25th, but it's also going to be back to that point on January 11th too. So December 25th and January 11th, Mercury is going to be conjunct the galactic center.
That's an 11.
Oh wow!
111 8, because 2024 is an 8. 224.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Wow. So
nice.
Yeah, I
another
see,
gateway.
I see the support coming in big time, and support from all realms is what I'm seeing, especially with Uranus being there too. You could be looking at, again, Jupiter's in Taurus, so you could be looking at some financial things changing too. I really look for some shakeups come the first of the year. It's everything has to fall down, because if it doesn't,
Mhm.
how can we
Mhm.
put anything new in place? And something I
Well,
mentioned,
yeah, I think you can transform some of it. Like, it doesn't have to just when you say that though, that's where our either or come in. And I really think it's important that we allow for the possibility that something can be both. So as something's crumbling, something else is kind of rising from that.
right?
So we don't necessarily, it's not like all the banks have to crash and everybody's got to lose all their money, like fear
Yeah,
mongering. Okay, we don't want the petrodollar, but it doesn't mean that your dollars have to go away. They can be gold backed and a new system can start based on that. So,
exactly.
hello, like that is where we need to get our mindsets is that people are like so afraid when they hear the Kissinger and the petrodollar and all those different things. You start hearing that.
Yes, yes.
And, I'm not going to say anything specific because I want to keep my channel. But it's
I
like,
know I'm walking on eggshells here around some stuff.
I know you forgot to mention who funded the movie. You can say it. Who funded that movie on Netflix that I was just talking about?
Something about some kind of Obama.
Uh-huh. Kinda
Mhm.
crazy, huh?
I thought that was very interesting, and I learned that
Uh,
after I watched the movie. Yeah.
after you wa well, isn't that interesting?
I found that
Hmm.
very interesting.
Hello, Genevieve. Welcome to the show. Nice to see you. Nice to feel your energy, sister. And she loves the well, yeah, we did this because, funds are a little tight and StreamYard costs like $25 a month, and, I don't have it. It's simple. So I'm just doing the best that I can with what we got, and I was testing last night to make sure that we could have Bev come on or live stream, and I still had that function, and we do. So yay.
Yes, yes.
So
And I just was playing around to come up with this. I said, too bad we didn't know we're doing this ahead of time. We'd have just put just another on the wall behind us. That'd have been kind of cool.
just another. Yep.
Just another. Yeah.
'Cause that's kinda how they see us too. But, on the next one that we do for the new year, we're gonna have a
Yes.
way cooler background because 'cause we're already gonna be going through
Yes.
all the
Yes.
gateways, all the portals, all the ones, all the 11s, everything, all the 1010s, the 10-10-10. There's a 10-10-10 code coming up too that's crazy.
Oh, wow. I hadn't heard of that
Yes.
one yet.
Yes, Scotty. That is correct. That is correct. He funded the movie about the blackout where everybody's gonna go into the world of darkness, and then I don't know, give us a little bit more. Was the movie, like, creating fear with people of,
Yeah.
"Oh, everything."
It's
Yeah.
creating fear. And the thing is, at the end of it, you don't know what happens. Yeah, it's a cliffhanger, and then they just leave you hanging. I don't want to do much of a spoiler alert, but let's just say you are left to figure out on your own what you think happened. Yeah.
Alright, Genevieve is saying, "Funny sync, but channel called Red Bricks is directly under your stream right now for me in YouTube."
Oh,
That's
wow,
okay. That's all good. I guess
that's
AI
funny.
picked up on the bricks, or maybe we said the word too much or something, and they I don't know. That's weird.
That is interesting.
Well, okay, so I guess we will be coming back. Let's see, what else we got? We got anything else for you guys while you're here? We talked about the ascension, the galactic center I think is really important. I just every time you say it, my spine straightens up. It's like I'm aligned with something there, just something streaming in. Maybe it's going to be sooner than we think. You know, nobody
Y-
knows. Anybody who proclaims to know the time based on alignments or based on anything else. There's also fear propaganda going around. I was going to talk about. I don't know if this is fear or not, but there's propaganda that's going around, and one of them is about cyber attacks, and that came out today. You sent me something.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
I got
people
that in my
falling for
email.
that, like that Rumble was down and different things, but
Yeah,
Rumble was up. I was getting notifications that other people are streaming. Maybe they had an issue today. Who knows what it is? And if there is cyber attacks going on, well, we know that, but we also know Space Force has got our backs and fighting for us. And at some point, we are going to need some kind of blackout so that we can get the EBS. And if the EBS is the wrong side, the other side, there still has to be some kind of announcement so everybody can get on the same page at some point. That will happen. I have no
yeah.
doubts. No doubts at all. I just don't know how. Nobody does, except the people that are
No,
planning it. But yeah.
it should be interesting. That's just looking at this, but if we just take it the step higher, stay in your lane over the holidays, just really look at the growth that's come from that Chiron and retrograde. Look at all the changes that you've made just in the last year alone. And these new, with the North Node being involved here, um, it's pointing us towards our future and our destiny. That's what the North Node is about. So I
Your
see
destiny.
things, it's divine timing right now, a lot of divine timing.
Yeah. And what you came here to do, the galactic center is like the assistance for that. I see it, when I see the circle that goes from Iron Age to Golden Age, and then there's that transitional period in between. I see the galactic center as that. It's just like a narrow slice of the pie.
Oh,
And when we align with the galactic center, it's like all this energy can come down. That's when you start having like dreams and lucid dreams and visions and meditations, when you're either just waking up, or if you're not awake yet, you'll start having like funny dreams and different stuff like that. But when you're awake and when you're connected, you start getting communications that are really, really clear,
yeah.
super empowering, and just like next level up leveling within yourself. It's telling you how to take command of the body systems. This body, this biofeedback machine that we have here,
Mhm.
this incredible machine that tells you, ouch, this is hot. This just burned my finger. Ouch, you get feedback.
Yeah.
The light's too bright. We get feedback all the time. So when we get our feedback, when we're getting downloads and we align with something that's truth, you'll feel the energy movement because your spirit is interpreting that light. And we don't
Yes.
use verbiage over in the higher planes. We're using telepathy. So those are kicking on. There's a whole bunch of groups I talked. If you guys didn't see my last live stream from last night on my channel, go to the live stream tab. It's from last night. And I talk about how there's different groups of people that are, I'll say volunteers, more like beta testing certain things. And I think I said anti-aging, but also age regression. It's not just anti-aging, but there's like telepathy, and all the telepathy is like a broad, I don't want to say experiment either, a broad beta testing for everybody. We've been doing it all along. It's just that people don't know, and their signals aren't crossing on galactic, active galactic grid networks when they're just projecting stuff. They're just projecting that stuff out into their field. And depending upon the force of the emotion behind it, they can project it out pretty strong to people because we have quantum. So they could project it from California to Pennsylvania, or from Japan to, Australia. Like you can project anywhere because it's quantum with telepathy, but you're not using the grid network. And if you want to use communications through the grid network, it's highly advanced, and there's a lot of training and taming of the mind system so that it's under your control, and you're not going to be allowed to use those systems until you are basically past the tests. And the tests are set within yourself. It's a higher light quotient. It's used by quantum graphing systems so that they can make sure that you're ready and that you don't like explode your light body or blow it out somehow because you're channeling too much energy. Like think now, if you guys can all probably imagine your light body, you got your toroidal field, your fountain of light, and you can expand it really big. Oh, I can encompass my whole division here. That's great. I can encompass the whole block. That's wonderful. But if you go from here to the block, if you're suddenly in a light body and we suddenly ascend and boom, we're in the next dimension, and you start blasting your energy out like that, you're going to be tired really fast if you're not ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you try to channel too much energy, you can also have very tight vortexing going on in your body. Like it spins like this. One pyramid goes one way, and then the other, Metatron. Okay. So one goes clockwise, one goes counterclockwise. And the spins, when you're bilocating, get really tight spirals, and they spin really fast. And when you bring that part of you back into this body, when you disconnect from the other location that you're at, you can get physically sick. Like I did the other night.
Yes.
And
Poor Lynda.
And it's just, it happens every once in a while. You get a little dizzy, a little off center, but that's when you need, when you're feeling physically whatever, this is part of the beta testing. So you would be self-identified to beta test. If you start to feel these things, okay, I was just receiving information from my team. I was just telepathizing, and I know I was, and now I feel a little nauseous. So what do? Well, that's part of the beta testing, my friends. That's part of the testing. Are you able to take command, sovereign command over your fields, over your systems, and instruct and issue the commands that you need? Settle the systems, calm the stomach down, stabilize the fields, open up the spiral a little bit. It's too tight. Like if you can sense things in your body and you can give the commands in the moment that it's happening, then you're ready for the beta testing. Then things will open up even more for you. And the communications just get more clear. Your knowing gets more sure. You'll just see different opportunities that come up where you may be a little bit bored with that already, so you might be helping other people. But when you start venturing out to help other people, you better have your own house in order, because you can't help anybody else until you help yourself. And we all know that. Now I'm
Yeah.
preaching to the choir. I'll stop.
Yeah, but I tell you what, sometimes that hits you, it just, out of nowhere. Because I know I've been tired a lot lately, and it just seems like I haven't had no interest in anything, but I can feel this Mars there going into Sagittarius, because it's lighting me up like crazy. And I've had to look at my chart and step back a few times in the last few days, but that's how you know you're growing, when you realize, oops, maybe something wasn't heard the way I meant it when I said it. Just think about it. Be very mindful of what you're saying, because, not always does the other person, hear it the way that you mean it. And that's something I've learned over my life. And you think I've gotten better at it by now, but hey, we all have our days,
That happens through text a lot too. Somebody might text something
texting.
and have one way, and the fields may bump up against each other, not be fields that merge with each other, which is what we are moving towards, being able to just be symbiotic with people. So when your fields bump up against each other, that's when somebody is going to use their own filter and interpret what they think in that current mind state and what you might have said. So texting doesn't always work. Yes, you can sense things from people through texting when you're good at it, when you've practiced it. If you're not practicing telepathy, if you're not open to, or awake to your own soul and all that yet, chances are you're going to at some point misinterpret the way a text or a message was sent. So hearing the voice is always really important with communication. So just wanted to throw that out.
And when you've got a lot of fire in the chart, we've got the planets there in Aries, we've got them there in Sagittarius. So that fire is kind of started up, and it's really easy for things to get out of control quickly. So just pay attention to what you're saying, stay in your own lane, try to accept people where they're at right now. Again, with the holidays and visiting people and all that, it's really a time that you can see your mastery and how far you come. And that's another thing. Don't forget to say, hey, you know what? I mastered that. I finally got this. Congratulate yourself, because, man, this work is not easy. Not at all.
No, there's always something to let go of. There's always something to master. There's always something, because at the point where you stop learning, why bother living? You should be learning something every single day. Make it a goal to learn, even if it's just one little thing. Just look up a word in the dictionary you don't know, and just always make it a goal to have something to learn every day, because we don't know it all. Our humans down here don't know it all. We know, and we've been lied to a lot. So a lot of the programs that we're running in our mind systems aren't even true.
They're
not even true. And we're about to find out in a grand way.
Yeah, we are, I'd say. Yes, definitely.
Patrice says that she's been feeling tired too lately and having growing pains like in her teenage years. It's funny you say that, because my sister was having some pains and some troubles. And if you guys can just hold her and Patrice, just, anybody that that's having an issue, just hold. As a matter of fact, just have a quick healing thought for everybody right now who might be going through a hard time with this ascension. Anybody who might be struggling, anybody who's going through painful, mental, emotional pain, just hold a healing thought for them just for a second. Take a deep breath in and just breathe out your love. Just send out your love, and you give it to yourself first. When you're breathing it in, you're giving it to yourself already. So you can hold them in your thoughts, and you can hold them in your heart while you're breathing in that light. You can envision them in your own heart so that they receive what you're receiving. And then when you breathe it out, let it go out through the grids. The grids connect in through your chakra points. So just keep people in your prayers. Don't be afraid to say you're in my prayers and in my thoughts, because a prayer is what they say, speaking to God or talking to God, and meditation is listening. So don't be afraid to use these words, and just trust that your soul will be in contact with you, if not already. Most of you guys listening already know that. You already have that kind of communication. And if you don't, and you're just starting to get it, and you're just starting to remember, it's also like riding a bike. You've already done this. You just forgot. You're just going to remember everything. Yeah, you forgot everything you already knew. So as you're remembering, you're like, wait a minute, it can't be that simple. I'm just creating that in my mind. Are you now? Just think about how you communicate in your dreams. Have you ever actually heard yourself talk? Because I know in dreams, when I go like, when I yell or something, I wake up here with this body, bleh, saying something.
Yeah.
It's like you don't actually speak with your mouth and verbiage the way we do down here. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Thank you, Scotty, sending out calming energies.
Oh, thank you.
Patrice is saying thank you, guys. Nano Ziggy, hello, welcome. You guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Bev, you got any
Thank you all for
final?
being here.
Yeah, you got any words from spirit? Any wisdom coming through? Anything else that you'd like to share from soul? Especially with the astrology, we got so much going on. Like if you were going to take it down to a bite size, so that say somebody didn't really know a lot about astrology, what points would you give them for now through going through, let's say January 2nd, because you were talking about that date?
Yeah, just use it as a time to go inside and reflect. I mean, I know, when we go into retrograde with anything, especially Mercury, take extra time because you don't know what's going to happen. Double check your plans. Just look at things like that and know that you have the answers inside. Trust your intuition more and know that this is a period of growth just like any other, but just you really need to tap more into spirit and your intuition right now because that's where all the answers are. You can kind of chase your tail right now because things aren't clear, with that Mercury retrograde. But just listen too, because some things might come in pretty fast when we have that conjunction between Mercury and the galactic center. So even if it sounds crazy and you go, how could that ever happen? You know what? Don't even think that.
When is that again?
Have the thought and know it's possible. That's January 11th and December. What did I say?
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, the 11th, the 1-1, yeah, that was the another
December,
11.
Yeah, 25th and then January 11th. Yeah, so
Okay,
you might have some really fast things come in during that time.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, just kind of everybody just kind of stay in your own lane. And
that's next month. That's the next month, Bev. Today's the 11th right now. I just saw that.
Oh my God,
sorry.
It is next month, isn't it?
I can't believe it feels like it's next week.
It does, don't it?
Yes. Didn't I hear something on I think Paul White Gold Eagle was reading from one of the Sacred New Earth scribes. And he said something about, or the person who wrote it was saying something about time appearing to it feels like it's speeding up, but it appears to slow down if you look at like your clock on the wall, and the clock will speed up. And funny enough, the clock that's out in our kitchen, the only battery operated clock that we have in here, my mom's had it for years and years and years. It's never had a problem. And just since the 1111 portal, it's running fast. I just fixed it yesterday. It's already 35 minutes faster than it should be.
Wow.
So yeah, and it's been happening like every day, a couple of days. Just like, gotta fix the clock. I gotta fix the clock. Come on, like there's nothing wrong with the clock. So yeah, we are in like a warped gateway portal time. The matrix is glitching. Oh, yes. Did I show you? Did I show you the peppermints? The Mandela effect?
No, huh?
Oh, hang on one sec.
All right.
Whoops. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So you know how peppermints usually look like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I got one like this. It was the only one. Oh God, you can't see it now. Oh, hold on, the green screen. Wait. Yeah, look.
Wow. Talk about glitching.
I was joking around. I mean, yeah, the candy could have been spinning or the machine could have been whatever. It was the only one in the whole bag. And it's like, Mandela effect.
I'll tell you, there's more of that stuff happening than, I don't know if anybody else has had the experiences, but yeah, I had a really wild one a couple weeks ago. And yeah.
Do tell. You want to tell or no?
Sure, I'll share it.
Okay, cool.
No, I was not indulging in adult beverages, nor had I smoked a whole lot or anything. But I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard something outside. The dog had been barking. So I opened up the windows there in the living room. I looked out. It was kind of rainy and whatever. So I thought, I don't see anything. So I had to use the restroom. And I thought, wait a minute, let me look out the window here. no lie, I looked out and there is a blanket of snow. And I mean, I'm talking big snow, and where the wind is blowing it, it's piled up on top of the vehicles.
Oh yeah.
I dropped the blind and I said, wait a minute, what the hell just happened? So I go over, I look again, the snow is there. I let it go. I walked back and looked out the living room window, and it's just raining and dreary and dark. And I said, okay, I'm going back to bed. And that was it. Yeah, that was wild. I've never had an
Wow.
experience like that before.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of glitches. If you guys are having them, there's another one Genevieve was talking about. She said the growing pains are not funny at all right now. She's been not
No.
even 5'2" all her life since 12 years old. And now she's 5'3". Wait, or is that the right? Did I get the right comment? Yeah, there it is. She's now 5'3".
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I've been
Yeah.
short all my life, and I don't want to go through the growing pains, but I could use an extra inch or two because I'm at 5 foot right now. So yeah.
I couldn't believe you were 5 foot when I saw you in person. I was like, I think you warned me. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny.
because
You
you
see
said
somebody get an idea
you
of what
seem
size
taller.
they. Yeah, I thought you were gonna be. You seem taller on screen.
Yeah, I'm just a little short thing. So yeah.
Yes, and my
Oh,
bilocation experience too, I wasn't under the influence of anything either. So it's like you feel like you have to clarify that because I've had people say to me when I first started my channel and I had laid out a few experiences when I had some channeling different councils and different beings and different things. It wasn't really channeling, but I was bringing forward information and messages. And I had somebody saying to like, "What were you smoking?" and different things.
yeah. Yeah. You
You
see,
gotta
think
laugh
about it.
because, well, you know what? When you smoke something like that, you do open your doors. But if you're going like high school high, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get high," yeah, you're probably gonna open some major doors, and you might get paranoid, not be able to handle it or whatever. But if you're microdosing for pain or something like that, you're
Yes.
not getting high per
No,
se,
no,
you
you're not
know?
using it for that.
Yeah. But anyway, sometimes you have to clarify that because people think like, "Oh, you're just wasted or high or whatever." No,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
how it works. Because
No.
you just take you guys all know, most of you watching this channel, I'm sure you already know. You just take a couple breaths, you calm your system down, and you're connected. Like, if
Yes.
you're not maintaining that connection throughout your day already anyway, if you're constantly maintaining that connection, then you're aware, you're that observer living within your body and you're just going through the motions. So nothing will upset you or get you down or get you here. Well, I shouldn't say that. You will be able to control your reaction. So even if you feel the upset, you feel it fully, but it just doesn't affect your joy. It doesn't affect your love. It doesn't affect your ability to give peace or be present or be the observer or make proper decisions that aren't going to be like bad decision reactions.
Yeah. That
So,
knee jerk. Hmm.
right. And as fast as you're moving, you could still take a deep breath and slow everything down. I was joking with my mom about something. She was taking her blood pressure, or not blood pressure. What do you call it? The oxygen levels. Well, we did the blood pressure too in the store. And I was telling her, watch, I'm going to lower, I went in, I said, watch, I'm going to lower it now. And I was just playing with it. I was
Yeah.
just playing. But since I had already done it with the little oxygen thing where you can check on your finger, and it was like, I think it was like 94, 95 or somewhere in there. I'm like, all right, that's too low. I'm going to get it up to 97, 98, whatever. And I did it and I slowed my breath down. Sure enough, the oxygen went up. And it was the intention, but it was the
Yeah.
breathing. And you got to combine those two, you know? So
Well,
yeah,
now,
you guys.
now I'm going to have to play around. I've got one of those pulse ox things. Now I'm going to have to try that, Linda.
Okay, but you gotta breathe really, really slow to the point where, you calm everything down and put your intention in there. You'll get it. You'll do it. I know
Okay.
you will. It's easy peasy. Try it if you guys have one.
That's kind of cool. Thanks for sharing that.
But see, that's also the kind of thing that'll help you in the self-healing beta testing that they want. It's not that they want volunteers. Everybody's being monitored. Everybody's being
Yeah.
self-identifying in their own growth process. All right. And the quantum graphing is measuring everybody's light quotients. So your light quotient is not going to tank once you reach a certain amount. Yes, you can deplete yourself, but your base level is always going to be your base level. And as you're consciously working to raise things and you're working on new skills, think of that tree of life. If you're going out on a
Okay.
side branch over here and you're working on your telepathy or clairvoyance maybe, or meditation or different things, each branch of your tree is bears different, not different fruit. That's probably a bad example. I try for these analogies. I really try for you guys, but I don't always get them right. but you're trying to travel up the taproot all the way up to the top. You don't want to get
Right.
stuck on any side branch with low hanging fruit. That's the bottom line. You want to self-identify so that you can keep moving up. I've been down this road before. I've been off on this branch before. Now I had to do another lifetime. I'm over here. I had karma. I'm on this branch. I'm on this branch. This doesn't go anywhere. And you keep going until you get to that one true organic timeline. That's the
Okay.
timeline that we're on right now. So when you can self-identify, it's called self-correction, self-alignment, self-initiation, and self-identification, I guess. You're identifying yourself in the beta test if you want. If you want that telepathy, if you want to bilocate and see what that feels like, then talk to your galactic team. I want to say your galactic force team, your galactic space force team, the team of you that is in the galactic realms, already on ships or whatever they're doing, talk to those teams up there that are working with the technology that help you, and self-identify. Let them know, like, let me be where my other self is, and just see what happens. So it's fun because there's healing pods and all kinds of things that you can be in up there. So if you're up there and you're in a healing pod in that body, you say, well, how's that affect this body? Because when you bring your consciousness back, you're bringing a part of that consciousness back, which was already in a lighter quotient body. So you're bringing more light back into I'm going over here, but I mean down here.
Yeah.
You're bringing that back into your body in the physical realm. So it's not a bad thing to bilocate. And sometimes you're bilocating into a being that is you, but that is doing stuff, and you're kind of going along for the ride, and you get to kind of co-join with yourself, which is pretty amazing. So I know it sounds crazy, but it's real.
No, it doesn't, because when you finally have one of those dreams too, that you realize that where you're at is a different place, and you're totally aware, that kind of freaked me out the first time. I was in another place, and people that are past in this world were there, and I was having a conversation just like normal, and it hit me in the dream. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This person how can this be happening? Yeah. The first time that happened, that was really cool. To realize, wow, there is somewhere else.
There is some. Oh yeah, there's many where else.
Many somewhere else's, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's just that, every once in a while you get hit with the waking up here and going, ah, shit, back here again. Like
that's why I'm so
damn.
crabby every morning. I think, I'm a crab in the morning. I'm not a morning person because I woke up and went, oh shit, we're still here. Yeah,
I know, because sometimes you're over there and what would be, 2 days, 3 days, 2 weeks, sometimes you're over there for quite a while, and then you come back here and you're like, oh damn. Yeah. I thought I was done with it. I thought that was just the dream. That was the Matrix dream, the 3D Earth Matrix dream, and I didn't think I was gonna have to come back. Like, no, you got to come back.
Yes.
Because I've had death dreams, multiple ones, at least 3 that I can think of off the top of my head, probably more, but the most recent one, I remember the first one, I wasn't ready. I was crying in fetal position. I was in my 20s. My husband had burned my body or something crazy, but I lived for 2 days after death. I could see and hear everybody. They were coming over. I could see my kids.
Oh, wow.
My youngest son could hear. It was an incredible dream, but it was just a wake up thing for me to show me that, no, like it wasn't. You could call it a near death experience, but it was technically a dream. But it lasted 2 days, and then I woke up the next morning, not 2 days later, the next morning for my dream. So it was a mind job. Now, the other one that I had recently, I was so ready. I was standing with my group, and I was just like, oh, I suddenly had that realization where I was, and I was like, oh, did I die? And now when I recall later, nobody actually said yes, but I had the feeling like, okay. And I'm like, can you make sure my kids get this? And I had like these 4 like journals or 3 journals or whatever I had these notebooks that I handed to them, and they're like, yeah. I said, make sure you give them the sign. I told them I would give them a sign and blah. Okay, let's go. And I was ready to move on, and we went on, and we had some really cool missions and things going on. And then when I woke up here, I was like, what's going on? It's like, what time loop repeat. What happened? I thought I was done.
That was so unfair. Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but it can give you, like, if that happens to you suddenly and you've never had an experience like that, you can kind of wake up and just be like, my job.
Yeah.
I want to use other words, but yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There you go. That explains my sleeping addiction. Right,
I
Patrice?
totally agree with that because there are days that I take, a couple naps some days because I'm just tired of the regular world, So yeah,
I
I like that.
know. Every night, it's like a joy when it comes to be bedtime. And sometimes I'm a night owl and I stay up late. And then other times, it's just like, let me go to bed. I need like early, like even 9, 10, 11. I'm just like, I just want to go to bed. And you lay
Yes.
down, you say your prayers, you talk to your team, you set your intentions for where you're going to go, and you get really good at it. Because a lot of time I'm too tired to do it. No, you're not. You're just being
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah.
Say your prayers, set your intentions, and have a wonderful night's sleep. Ask to go in to the healing lakes and the healing pools and meet your family and all of that. Ask for some good dreams because you're going to get them. It's just a matter of whether or not you get the memory.
The
That's the
memory,
important
that's the
part.
thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the thing because I wake up and I know I've been talking to somebody, asking questions, or I've been doing some kind of schooling, but I don't know what it is. Yeah. So I know, but I just don't know what. I don't know the details yet.
Yeah. Well, Bev, you gave us your last words of wisdom. I'd like to say any little final couple sentences because I pretty much spilled all I got. And I want to thank you guys for sticking around. We've been on for an hour and a half almost.
Yeah,
And
thank you guys.
yeah, thank you for being here with us. Thanks for participating in the chat and for just giving us your time and your attention, your focus, your love. We love you so much. And we
And
will definitely be back. Bev's going to do something for the new year. And
yes, for
we'll
sure.
do like a year in review or the year coming up or something like that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be good too because I'm excited to get started on it because yeah, I've heard there's quite a bit going on next year, so I'm ready to dig in.
Can't wait. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for being here. Just remember to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. And Bev,
Don't be food.
got it. Don't be food.
Have a good night, everyone.
Peace. Have a good night. We love you.